Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Jaya Guru Raya.
Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Jaya Guru Raya.
Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Jaya Guru Raya. Bhagwan Shri Yogi Ramsuratkumar ki jai. Sarvam Yogi Ramsuratkumar Arpanavastu. Bhagwan, who is compassion incarnate, with boundless mercy, grace, has granted this opportunity once again for all of us to sing together His powerful name in His powerful shrine. What can we do in return? Except that we continue chanting the rest of the time also as much as possible. And move about with our being in Him. Now, Bhagwan, we have been seeing glimpses of Yogi Ramsuratkumar in the early 80s, late 70s and early 80s. He had touched upon many topics. Now today being Thursday, it's called Guruvar, a day dedicated to the Guru. We shall see a small incident, something different from what we have been seeing for some time now. We know that Bhagwan had even made fun of people going to the Jyoshya, the astrologer, and for Nadi reading, the Palmyra leaves reading. He said, when this beggar says something, people don't believe, people don't have faith in this beggar's words. But if something is being said in the Palmyra leaves or by an astrologer, we don't know how it happens, but they immediately have faith in it. And then he would laugh. Maybe they would believe this beggar if this beggar has come in one of those palmyra leaves, that he even asked a devotee. But of course, we saw some time back that Yogi Ramsuratkumar Bhagwan was being mentioned in one of the palmyra leaves. Now, in the ashram, some people had come in the past 1.5 years to settle down near the ashram so that they would be able to do service here. One such couple, the Ram Mama and his wife Maduram Mami. They owned a house in Kumbakonam, but they sold it and came and settled down here in Tiruvannamalai, near the ashram. Despite all the difficulties of shifting and the new place, they are managing to pull on. One day, one astrologer by name Dhanashekar, the ashram people know him. He comes often to the ashram. When he had come to the ashram, he told Sri Ramuji, tomorrow is in Dhanur Rasi. All the 6 planets are meeting, a constellation where the planets are coming together, which spells out a certain difficulty for people who belong to this constellation. So he warned Sri Ramuji, saying that see that your wife does not go out tomorrow. Let her not come out of the house tomorrow. So he went and promptly told his wife that. But his wife, Maduram, we call her baby here, she has been coming to the ashram every day early morning for some time. She would come around 5:30, a little before 5:30, and then we would gather to open the door, Bhagwan's Samadhi Mandir door. We would sing songs before and after opening. And after we would leave, she would stay on and sing a song on Bhagwan or general some bhakti song, bhakti geet. Every day she would come promptly and sing and offer a song at the feet of Bhagwan in Samadhi Mandir. Now that particular day, the next day, as warned by the astrologer, she would not listen to her husband saying not to go out. She insisted on coming to the ashram as she would always do. She didn't want to miss. She came at 5:30 and promptly presented her song to Bhagwan at the Samadhi Mandir. And then people lined up for Arati at 5:50. After the Arati was over, people in the line went to Bhagwan to touch his feet and offer their prayers, one by one. When she was nearing Bhagwan, she swooned. She fell down and lost her consciousness. Immediately, naturally, people were alarmed, and then there was some intense activity immediately. we tried to do whatever we could in the circumstances. And then just when we were trying to contact a doctor, 6 o'clock it was, the 6 o'clock Nama Sankirtan would start promptly. And Dr. Shivakumar came inside. Dr. Shivakumar lives very near, he and his wife Dr. Manju, well known to the devotees. They live here just outside the ashram. Either one of them would come for the 6 to 7 Nama Sankirtan every day. This Nama Sankirtan between 6 and 7 in the morning and 6:15 and 7:15 in the evening have been going on for the past 3 years. The extra feature is this Facebook. So they've been coming, and Dr. Shivakumar entered for his 6 to 7 session. And then we were very happy to see him. Immediately we rushed and told him, and then she was shifted to one of the cottages nearby and attended to immediately by Dr. Shivakumar. At that time, a couple had come from Dharmapuri by car. He said, after checking up her BP and other things, it's better to rush her to the hospital and have some tests done. But then the ashram car was there, the driver wasn't there. The driver would come only around 8 o'clock. So just when we were thinking about it, the couple who had been staying here for 3 days, they offered, they said, of course we would take her, we would rush her to the hospital, please don't worry, we would stay put, and only when she has been attended to, we would come back. So they took her immediately to the hospital here, and by 9 o'clock everything was done and she was given medicine and she became all right and she came back home. Now why I accentuate this particular incident is when Bhagwan often said, and of course other Mahatmas, Papa Ramdas had said it, that people like us can play football with the planets. The planets, the Devatas, the gods who manage the different planets, it is they who run our lives. According to our past karmas, the life is run, the life is designed by these people, the planet gods. That is why from time to time people would do something. Then all these planets, all these gods will keep away from Guru Bhakti. If there is a Bhakta, there is a devotee, dedicated, very devoted to the Guru, they would be afraid to come near. In the sense, they respect the disciples who is devoted. So, at such times when there would be a definite forecast of something imminent, that something bad. See, baby could have fallen down while she was climbing up the staircase, because they live upstairs, first floor. Had she come down, when she was coming down or she was going up, she could have fallen down. She would have rolled down the steps. She could have fallen down on the way to the ashram, but it happened right in the shrine. And what was more, a doctor was immediately available. And the devotees present, they gave the card immediately. everything happened, one after the other, as though it's been known to Bhagwan. Bhagwan was arranging. Even as we go through the effect of our karma, it must be a very small percentage, because once you surrender to the Guru removes most of it, would leave only a little portion for you to go through, the tail end of it. But even that is something too much for us. We are unable to bear. And then we cry out. We say, why do you give me such suffering? I'm unable to bear. Why are you testing me again and again and again? And then we start scolding Bhagwan. For some reason, the Guru Mahatmas allow a certain portion of our karma for us to go through. But the rest of it, they would take upon themselves. We wouldn't even know about it. In very special cases where there is complete surrender from the disciple to the Guru, they would remove the karma altogether. We do not know what calculations are involved, but the Guru can do anything to protect the disciple. Such is the power of Bhagwan here. I remember some time back, maybe 4 or 5 years back, some devotee well known to us, he came and told me that it was very bad time for him. There was also a likely event of death, that he had been warned. Then I said, why don't you come to the ashram and stay for 3 or 4 days? And I said, don't tell anybody, just come and stay here quietly and go. Bhagwan would take care of you. Nothing could happen to you when you live within this presence of Bhagwan. He came, he spent 3 or 4 days very quietly chanting the name, going around. After the bad time was over, he left happily, thanking Bhagwan profusely. These things happen. The Guru's place is very protective. I remember, I forgot to say it in the morning session, but I have said it, I have described this quite some time back, this particular incident reported by Sri Ganga Ramaswamy. He said there was this danger of all the 9 planets aligning themselves, coming in one line, which meant a certain disaster to the world. So people were very worried, and all kinds of atonements were being made. The atonement ceremonies were being made everywhere. And then when somebody came and said to Bhagwan, Bhagwan was at the time in the chariot mandap. He was standing there on the top step when some people came and reported to him that the day was coming when all these planets would meet, and it spelled a definite disaster to the world. Then Bhagwan said he gave a kick towards north, a kick towards east, another kick towards south, and then the last kick towards west. After giving these kicks to these different directions, he raised both his hands and made some gestures looking up at the sky. After making some movements, he declared, "Oh, my father has set it right. There is no need to fear. There will be no disaster to this world. The event may occur, but there will be no disaster to the world. My father has set things right. There is nothing to worry, nothing to fear." Another time, an Naxalite had come, and somehow he came to know he was hiding, he was living at that time there were many, many trees. It was like a forest around Arunachala mountain, and he was living there. But somehow he found his way. It must be some meritorious deed he had done in one of his previous births. He found his way to the lotus feet of Bhagwan. And Bhagwan, being Bhagwan, became friends with him. And they would meet sometime and talk. And one day, when this Naxalite came in search of Bhagwan, and Bhagwan was standing there on the top step of the chariot mandap, this Naxalite suddenly saw Bhagwan growing in size. He was growing and growing, and finally his form filled up the entire space. And what was more, Bhagwan held the planets in his hands, and he was just placing them here and there like a small boy would play with the balls. He was overwhelmed, flabbergasted. He reported this to one of our devotees, Om Prakash Yogini, who narrated this, which is also written about it. So you see, the most protective place for us is the Guru's Sthan, the Guru's ashram. Whenever there is a forewarning of difficulties, one could take refuge here. And Bhagwan would protect us, would save us from all this. Even if we get only the tail end of it, it still would be much, much better than the other circumstances. So this Bhagwan of such power is here right in front of us with his hand raised in benediction. Once Bhagwan said to Shivaramakrishna of Tapovanam, "This beggar can make a small clump of clay into Mount Meru. This beggar can reduce Mount Meru to a small clump of clay." And then immediately he said, "Shivaramakrishna, this beggar said this beggar. No, it's my father. My father can do that. This beggar said it in madness." And he changed the topic. Now this Bhagwan is here right in front of us. Only he could change the course of events. So let's submit our today's prayers at his feet. Bhagwan, there is nothing that you do not know, there is nothing that you cannot do.